Return of the Mount Hua Sect. Chapter 240. This is hell.
Yak, 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 yak.
From the morning, the crows. Of course, it wasn't like he hated crows. How could a Taoist think that the color on the outside was what defined a being? The crow was just another bird. The only problem was that the cries of the crows today seemed ominous. Am I just letting my heart go wild? The sound of a bird couldn't be too different from usual. If it sounded ominous to someone, it could only mean that the listener wasn't in a good mood. Hyunjung quietly closed his eyes and controlled his mind. Crack. Hyunjung's gaze lowered. There was a crack in the old teacup he was holding in his hand. Well, is this also a coincidence? Right. There are days when crows are just crows and teacups crack. Today is just the day when the two overlapped. Hyunjung's eyes trembled. A scroll with the words, "The highest good is like water," that had been hanging on the wall, fell to the floor. At this point, there was no escaping the fact that today was strange. It feels so weird. What is exactly going on for all these ominous things to keep happening? Hyunjung put down the teacup he was holding and took a deep breath. It is up to the heart. Everything depends on the heart.
Yak, 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 yak.
Hyunjung, who failed to control his heart and mind, got up in anger. From the morning, you constantly... Hyunjung walked out the door and proceeded to yell at the crows until he felt a gaze on him. He then lowered his hand and looked in front of him. Hyunjung was standing in the yard, shaking his head.
What are you doing?
What about you?
Well, I couldn't sleep, so I decided to come out early to do some cleaning.
I see. Hyunjung coughed a couple of times and turned back. I am just...
Why does it look like your face is turning red?
Hyunjung's face changed. As people who walked in the path of the Tao got older, they would start to speak softer than others. Hyunjung sighed and was about to say something when... Sect leader! Sect leader! What now? Hyunjung turned his head with a sullen expression. From the other side, Hyunsang came running in. What is this fuss right from the morning? A message! Huh? Hyunsang came closer, took a deep breath, and shouted, We got a message from Hwang village. The children have arrived in the village and are now climbing up. What? Hyunjung was shocked. Now? They should take a little time to climb, but they will arrive soon. Right. Yes. Hyunjung, who had been losing his mind until then, was now back to normal. I shouldn't be like this. After thinking that, he began to sprint to the main gate of Mount Hua. Hyunjung also threw away the broom in his hand and followed Hyunjung. Let's go together, sect leader. Hyunsang also followed Hyunjung. Hyunjung reached the gate and pushed the wooden door open. He then slowly walked out and stood in front of the gate, looking at the ascent to Mount Hua. He caught his breath. How many times had he been this excited and had run like this? His heart felt excited now. His heart wasn't as calm as when he first entered Mount Hua. They will come. They are coming. The gentle words of Hyunjung and Hyunsang were heard. They are coming now. Hyunjung looked at the hill. They have become strong. If you had given us a message, we wouldn't have been waiting this impatiently. They must have gone through a lot.
Of course. Just where is Yunnan? How hard must it have been to travel to that distant place?
In the meantime, didn't they even make an alliance with the Sichuan Tang family? Those savage idiots. Their tones were a bit violent, but they were all filled with gratitude. He was sorry for entrusting them a task that should have been done by them, and he was proud that they had done such a good job. Above all, he was just happy. Hyunjung looked at the mountain peaks.
Still, now I'll have something to talk about when I see the ancestors. I couldn't lead Mount Hua, but Mount Hua found children who could lead it. Wouldn't that be enough?
Sect leader, the kids are coming.
Yes.
Hyunjung slightly touched his eyes. It was said that one would become more sentimental the older they get. This has to be that. The children were coming home after a long time, so he had to welcome them with a smile. Step, step. Shortly after, footsteps could be heard. The sound of the footsteps wasn't fast, but they were loud enough to be heard clearly. Hyunjung clenched his fists. Now he could see them, the dignified children of Mount Hua.
The pillars who will lead Mount Hua. The pill.
Hyunjung's eyes trembled when he laid eyes on the children who were climbing up. The heavy steps, the messy hair, the robes of Mount Hua which had almost turned into rags. They were like ghosts.
What?
Didn't they go to Yunnan? Why do they look like they have been to hell? Watching the children climbing up the mountain with murderous faces, a chill ran down his spine. Mount Hua! It's Mount Hua! Mount Hua! It's Mount Hua! Mount Hua! The elders saw the disciples rub their eyes. Surprised, they took a step back, flinching. Damn it! Leaving home is truly hard work. I won't step out of Mount Hua anymore. At least I will not go out with him. Bath! 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 Yu Yisol was screaming, frustrated because she had been unable to clean herself. Seeing the terrifying sight, the faces of the elders changed.
No. What happened to the kids on the journey? When they went out, they felt so fresh.
Baekchun, who always stood at the forefront with a bright face, now had his gaze lowered. Sect leader!
Yeah, what is with the terrifying expressions?
Baekchun walked to the sect leader, clasped his hands with a sound, and said, Second-class disciple Baekchun, who left for the mission, has come back.
Right. This isn't right. Normally, we should be welcoming the kids with violent tears. How did the atmosphere become like this?
Seeing the sect leader a bit embarrassed, Baekchun seemed to remember something. Sect leader!
Yes.
The purple woodgrass. We found it. The one we went after. Chongmyung. Chongmyung slapped Baekchun's excited hands, which reached for the bag containing the grass.
Don't touch it! I'll cut your finger!
You crazy bastard!
The medical practitioner! We need to head there!
Chongmyung ran inside without even greeting the sect leader.
A bath! I need to wash right now.
Food! Is there any food left for me to eat? I think I'll die. I haven't had anything in the last 3 days. It felt like baby tigers were meowing even though they had left the cave and came back as beasts with cuts on their bodies. At that time, Hyunyoung took a step forward with a determined expression.
Right! Wash up and eat as well. What happened in Yunnan is important, but not now. You must be exhausted.
We still have to report. Baekchun was the only one who had a little bit of reasoning left in him. However, Hyunyoung just snorted.
Seriously, what if it succeeded and what if it failed? What is important is that you went there and suffered hardships and still returned in one piece.
No, it was a success.
Okay, head in.
Hyunyoung pushed Baekchun inside. No, this...
Enough, bastard. Eat and then talk. Does that sound good, sect leader? Yes. Right. Food is important. Hurry up and wash too. I will ask our chefs to prepare the food right away.
At those words, Jogul and Yunjong's eyes widened. Food! I kept eating dry food on our way from Yunnan. Isn't that still better than hay?
Right. Hay. Why is that being spoken about here?
Hyunjung looked at the disciples walking in, and he had a puzzled expression on his face.
Don't you think the kids are getting a little weird? A little?
Hyunjung looked at the disciples of Mount Hua with a blank expression. Seeing they come back clean, they looked like the disciples, but
something about them.
It is like a person who didn't exist before had seeped inside them. Or was it because they were more relaxed? It was difficult for him to put his fingers on it, but if he had to put it in a phrase,
they've grown.
It seemed like what people said about children growing rapidly out in the world was true. But the problem was something else.
Ugh, my waist!
Chongmyung was lying with his back against the wall like a puppy sleeping in a warm place.
Isn't it closer to growing old rather than growth for this brat?
Apart from that, they also kept reciting the weirdest chants. Of course, they must have been through a lot, but now they were calling the elders Hyung.
Yes. Did everyone have a good time?
Yes, sect leader. Yes. Baekchun was being Baekchun. He restored his original face before the others could respond. Thanks to your concern, we managed to safely bring back the grass from Yunnan. Although there have been several incidents. And then he suddenly fell flat on the spot.
No, why are you doing this?
I asked to be punished for abusing the authority given to me without asking the sect leader for permission.
Get up.
But, sect leader,
why did I entrust the authority to you?
Outside of here, you're the one looking after them.
Your choice is mine, so you don't need to seek punishment.
Sect leader,
stop kneeling and sit down.
At those words, Baekchun got up. Hyunjung, who sternly asked him to get up, showed a gentle face again.
Right. Can I hear what happened now?
Yes, but before that, I would like to ask one thing. Has the head of the Tang family visited Mount Hua?
Yes, I did hear about the situation from the Tang Lord, but I would like to hear it from your point of view.
Yes, I will explain what happened. He began to calmly describe their journey to the elders and the sect leader. In the middle, Jogul, Yunjong, and Yu Yisol came forward to speak about whatever he had forgotten. Of course, Chongmyung started to doze off, but no one paid attention to him because of this exciting story. And as the story continued, Hyunjong opened his mouth further and further. And when Baekchun finished speaking, even the elders and the disciples couldn't take their eyes off the disciples.
To obtain an alliance from the Tang family in Sichuan.
Yes.
In the meantime, you knocked out the elder of the Tang family.
Chongmyung did it. Hyunjong looked at Chongmyung, who was sleeping.
He took the bandits and went to Yunnan to form an alliance with the Beast Palace.
An alliance? You can think of it as an alliance, but it is a bit different. Still, it has the same meaning. Now, the disciples of Mount Hua will be treated without bias in Yunnan. But,
and you also received the monopoly rights of the Yunnan tea.
There was someone better than Baekchun who could answer that question, and Baekchun looked at Jogul. As soon as he saw that, Jogul bowed his head and answered, "The situation in Yunnan is very serious. Without asking permission, I ended up using my family as the agent who represents us to trade the tea. The transport will be made under the name of Mount Hua. I beg you to punish me."
Punish? Punish? What for, you idiot? Olaf.
Hyunjong stuttered, unable to believe all that he had heard.
You did this in just a month's time. All this? Can this even happen?
At this point, Hyunjong thought it was more ridiculous than happy. He had to speak, but he couldn't respond. Hyunyoung grabbed Hyunjong by the shoulder as the man was unable to speak in this situation and said out loud,
"Sect leader." Huh?
Hyunyoung opened his mouth with a serious face.
Do we have no work in the north or the south side?
What is that? And then, Hyunyoung glanced at Chongmyung as he whispered,
Let's send them outside one more time, sect leader. We never know. Maybe this time they'll come across a phoenix.
For a second, Hyunjung wanted to follow that advice.